Oh, at night?
Back up before I wake up. That's all I know.
I was just gonna say, yeah, it comes up.
Oh, hell no. Shit. Damn dogs are in there.
Always give us a knock before you start, Betsy Sue.
Yeah, you never know what we might be saying out here.
Right?
I don't have to write on my agenda. I went right on hers. I'm like, oh, I don't know what kind of record that is. Okay.
All right, you ready?
Wait, no, I need to start. Okay, I'm ready.
Call the meeting to order. Miss Paula, will you take the roll?
Councilwoman Garvey,
Present.
Councilman Brennan,
Present.
Councilman McCain,
Present.
Councilman Stowe,
Present.
Mayor Sykes.
Present. Let the record reflect that we do have a full quorum for the meeting on October 24th, 2022. Run down to department heads. I'll start with Shasta. What do you got?
Mayor Council, we just got word from the Idaho Commission for Libraries that our application with the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare for a telehealth service has been approved, and we're getting a privacy pod inside the library for doctor appointments as well as counseling service slash study area. So we're excited to add that to our study space. More to come on that soon. I have a meeting set up with them to talk logistics and what that would look like. We're also getting a drive-by book drop installed outside so that our patrons can just drive by and drop it off without having to get out of their cars. So that's coming as well. I will send an invite to each of you when we do our ribbon cutting for that. Tomorrow we have our special spooky story time. We'll have our regular stories as well as a craft, and then we have a costume parade for all that want to attend. And we just parade around the insides of the library. And then just a reminder, we also have, we're also going to be part of Spooktacular on Friday, and we're giving away 800 books. So come to our booth. It's going to be in the hub area. The books were provided through the Idaho Commission for Libraries along with monetary donations from the Active Learning Center, as well as Richard McKenna High School student Carson Sayer, who did a yard sale, and all the proceeds went to the library. And then this week we have our teens after hours. They'll be doing water balloon jack-o'-lantern painting. So that'll be a fun, messy time. And that's it.
Okay. Go ahead, Councilman.
Shasta, is that book drop going to be inside the parking lot area?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thank you.
Ty.
November 5th, we're going to be doing applicant testing for new patrol officers. So it'll be kind of the open forum. Come in and anybody's interested, come in and test the written and physical fitness. That'll start at 9 a.m. on that Saturday. November 3rd, Lieutenant Thompson and Corporal Lux will be teaching their final certification sign-off for a post-firearms instructor. So we'll have 2 new instructors for that realm. For community events, this past Saturday, we were out with the fire department and sheriff's office at Breestone Air Base Road in our annual, one of our fundraisers for Shop a Cop. That went really well. Everybody had a good time, even though it was raining and windy and cold. Everybody kept up good spirits for that. Of course, we'll get Spooktacular this Friday. And on Saturday, this year, we are invited to the annual Fall Harvest Run. And we have a few officers that are volunteering to run with the kids. So they'll be doing their mile.
That's awesome.
So we're looking forward to that.
Perfect. Chief.
Mayor Council, our open house was a smashing success. We set a record for attendance on giving rides that evening. The weather was beautiful. The crowd was wonderful. We have the Spectacular we're looking forward to as well this upcoming Friday. Hopefully we'll get weather that cooperates. And just by information, the open house was an event we went back and looked to see when this actually started. It started in 1977, so it's a 45-year-old event for the fire department doing that. They had it on Saturdays and it was almost an all-day event. But 45 years doing it, so that's all.
Gene?
Awesome. That's awesome. Streets have been working on the standard stuff for fall time, right between that transition between summertime and winter. We're set up with all our sanders, everything's been checked out. We've got little sanders set on trucks right now, ready to rock. There's slick spots and stuff like that when it freezes, when it gets backed out. Big sanders will probably move in closer to November if it doesn't snow around here before that. Sweepers, we've got 2 sweepers right now running all day long. 2 dump trucks hauling sand to restock our pile from last winter. We do a little overstock every year. We try, since in the last few years, when we have a little bit extra money inside there, we try to build up a little bit more of a stockpile just in case we have a year like 2017. So we're getting that all stocked up right now. Did a little bit of touch-up painting on some areas that aren't getting driven on. Been getting some estimates for that West Fifth North Street, so kind of getting that all set up right now. It's just basically general stuff. A little bit of fixing on some roads. We started again on a main road going up the middle of the golf course today, and then tomorrow we'll probably go out and build a little parking area alongside one of the hangars out at the airport. So just keep them busy.
Perfect. Paula?
Mayor and Council, the City Hall and Public Works will also be at Spectacular, but we'll be giving out candy and other fun things, not books. And we're also gearing up. I don't know if you guys saw, we had a bunch of penguins in here. We did Christmas lights today. We have these really spectacular holiday specs that we're going to give out, hopefully before the Forest event, but also at the event. So we're working towards Halloween, but we're excited for Christmas.
Rich?
Mayor, Council, so Gene got pretty much covered street stuff. Water's just been getting the wells that are not being used, getting those cleaned up, winterized, getting everything taken care of those things. Wastewater's kind of doing the same thing, making sure everything's closed up at the farm, all of our watering things, and we're just winterizing things. So that's really the biggest things we're doing from that. Going to meet, I know this for I think Monday morning, and we're going to have a meeting with, I think, the mayor and Keller to talk about the well. So that's kind of where we are with that. And just bring up something for Miguel. I don't know if the mayor has mentioned, but I'll just mention it. They're going to get the bridge started this week. Yeah, so it's going to be closed for a little while. So hopefully at the end of next week, the bridge might be opened up. So, but just so everybody knows.
Conflict with any person regarding any items on this City Council agenda? If so, please set forth the nature of this contact. Hearing none, we'll run down the consent agenda. Council, what do you guys want to pull, talk about, move, remove? Councilman Brennan?
Item E is the Pioneer Equipment Company lease for GPS technology. I just wanted to make sure I understood the paragraph number 2, rent. I talked to Tiffany this afternoon, and I think she wanted to change the word including to includes at the end of the first line there.
Okay.
$70 a month includes the City of Mountain Home Fiber Optics monthly maintenance and operation fee, which is currently $17.50. And then she changed it to limited equipment storage and utilities used from previous drafts of that. So, Paul, have you had a chance to review this contract?
Yes.
And I saw that the insurance I asked for went up significantly. No issues with it from your perspective now?
I don't believe so. I'm sorry, I'm trying to read it, look at it. I read it last week and now I'm trying to look at it on my phone. But no, I don't recall it striking any chords with me.
If we could just change that including to includes for the different items that she's written in there. So
Okay.
it's a low fee, but I'll accept it.
Okay. Pioneer. Includes. Okay. Any other ones, Council?
Mayor?
Councilman Brennan?
Item F, I think I just want to go into an extended discussion on that. If we can pull item F for new business.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Council, any others you want to talk, poll, more clarification?
Mayor, sorry, one more thing.
Yep.
After talking to Brock, the, which item was it? The Colthorpe Commons one, item H. In the motion, we agreed to have them have that sentence about EDU availability at the time of building permit, and that was left off the findings of facts. So if we could just put that in there through interlineation. It's item H. I forget can you help me remember the verbiage we used?
You said it pretty much. That was
Yeah,
about what it was.
EDU availability.
Yeah.
Our EDUs have to be available at
Yep.
the time of building permit. Okay.
That's H. What was 2? 2 was F, right? 2 was E. E. Okay.
Now it's
EDU availability H. Okay. Council, any other changes, comments, concerns, polls?
Mayor,
Councilwoman Garvey?
I just have a quick correction on I. It's just a quick spelling on page 7. Paragraph 4, subsection I, though, just needs to be changed. Circle it and change it.
I is, okay, I, and then what number? Sorry?
4A, and then I.
A.
This will require a medium and closing off, though. It's just a typo, that's all.
Okay. Okay.
no.
Councilman Brennan?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as printed with the exceptions of item I changing the typo. Item H, in the findings of facts, part of the restrictions is there has to be water availability at the time of building permit.
Okay. E.
And pulling item F from the consent agenda.
Second.
Did you get E in there to change the verbiage?
Oh, through interlineation. Yeah, and change the one word in item E.
Okay. It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion?
Oh, I'm sorry, who did the second?
Me.
Thank you.
Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilwoman Garvey?
Aye.
Councilman Brennan?
Aye.
Councilman Stokes?
Aye.
Councilman McCain?
Aye.
Awesome. I forgot to tell the council we were gonna pull number 2. Was it 2 that Tiffany told us we needed to pull, Paul?
Correct.
Okay. I'm gonna pull that one off tonight,
Mr. Mayor?
because the applicant, yes, sir.
Is that under the new business?
Yeah.
Okay.
The applicant won't be here. That's why.
Yeah, before I get to F, I just wanted to make sure that I didn't forget that one. Alrighty. Run down to item number 1. There was no old business. Run down to item number 2, new business. Items removed consent agenda, which is F. And Brennan, F, yep.
I was just hoping for, I guess, a slight explanation as to what happened with the bid and what the plan moving forward is if we reject the bid.
So what happened is when we opened them up, Crown Utilities quintessentially was the only one that had the availability to do it for our over 200,000. You have to have a public works license. So then they bid it at 2.7 and change, which was about $1,700,000 over what we had anticipated. And then the other one, they added a kind of a bid through the email, which they didn't have the public works license, so they were going to go under Crown Utilities, which still way over the cost. So the plan right now is we're waiting on Bruce to get us a kind of a synopsis schematic of if we do it in-house now. If we just do it in-house with 6 people, we have the equipment, they did it in Ammon, so he's gonna give us that, kind of ballpark number, then bring it back to the council. So right now, we can't really do anything. These bids are so high that, well, that's what we're seeing in everything. They'll bid it super high, and if you take it, they're happy. If you don't, then meh, they're already too busy anyways.
So Sawtooth was going to use the license of Crown, and Crown also wants to do the work?
Supposedly is what kind of the synopsis of that day is. What,
Went either way, it looks like.
yeah.
So, if I understand right, if we reject this, we're just gonna wait until we get a price estimate? The price estimate for doing it in-house, how will we be able to assure, like, the true price? Like, what we're paying, because, what's the word I'm looking for? The in-house services, the in-kind work, I suppose?
Mm-hmm.
How do we truly put a exact number to that? In a big picture of comparing it apples to apples in a bid.
Right. So we'll have we already have the engineered plans, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we already know the feet, how many handholds, how many MSTs, how many. That'll all be. We already know that cost. Now the second cost will be the people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then what we'll do is Bruce is building that spreadsheet to bring back to the council as well.
What can you remind us what Bruce's what his ability is to tell us what the City of Mountain Home employee cost will be? I don't know how to say that. What's his profession or his expertise in that?
Well, we call him the godfather of fiber. You know what I mean? He built Ammon's model, in which we are mirroring Ammon's model, from literally one employee to the 30 they have, right, or the 15, depending on the season. And then that's what he's done for the last. Well, now he's gone. Now he works for Entry Point as a consultant. So he's gone to Entry Point, which is our consultant as well. So it's not his first rodeo in municipal government.
So they'll take into effect potential future raises of these employees and
Mm-hmm.
the benefits packages and all of that.
Yep. What it will probably be is laborers, and what they'll be is incentivized, like they did in Ammon. So what they'll do is they'll take, let's say, 6 laborers and say, hey, the minimum you do a week is 10 homes. Now, if you get 15 homes, you get incentive pay. Now, if you do 20 homes, you get even more incentive pay. So an incentive to get these homes done quick and efficient as fast as possible. So that's how they did it in Ammon, and so that's what we're going to try to bring back to you guys is, yeah, eventually when you build this department up, you'll have probably 6 full-time employees, right? But for right now, it doesn't pay to have full-time employees that are the laborers.
So with that incentive plan, does that limit or restrict their ability to get overtime? So we're not paying astronomical overtime amounts in that.
That's a good question.
Configuration.
He will definitely have. I will definitely bring him to you guys, so you guys can ask all the particulars on that one. That's a good question, though.
And legally, Paul, maybe for you, how long do we have to either accept or reject a bid?
Well, it depends on when the project is supposed to start, obviously. Usually that's in the bidding documents, is it not?
Bidding documents, yeah.
Well, I don't know without looking at the bidding documents.
Can somebody help me find that? I'm just curious, like, are we allowed to table it while we run other numbers instead of just outright rejecting it?
Generally, I would say yes, barring what the actual documents say. But anything, you use the word reasonableness. So if you need more time to gather more information, you can table it for a reasonable amount of time without actually rejecting all bids or rejecting a certain bid. However, if there's an arbitrary clock that's put on it that we see from the bid documents, that'll trump my opinion.
Okay.
The current bids that we have are so astronomical that it doesn't pencil. And that's why
it would never.
Mm-mm.
You don't think there's any chance of coming back to it and saying, like, kind of like the pool is what I'm thinking of, right? Is the bids are high, but we're going to proceed forward with the pool one day.
But these are all paid for by the LID, right?
Right.
So if I were to stick that 2.7 million with those 4 areas of the LID, it wouldn't be the $3,500. It would be double 10 grand a pop,
Yeah.
which is, nobody wants to pay 10 grand for the next 15 years.
Right.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Stokes?
So as we talk about this, then do we think we can hook everyone up for that between $1 million and $1.3 million or something right in there if we do it in-house or even cheaper?
That's what Bruce was saying. He was saying from 800,000 to $1.3 million, $1.2 million.
Okay.
Mayor.
Councilwoman Garvey?
So with that all being said, then help me to understand why, if we could get this job done within those parameters, the 800 to $1 million, why did we go out for bid?
Speed. They do it faster. They'll bring in a large crew. We wanted to get everyone hooked up as soon as possible. And they were shooting pretty good numbers there for a bit. And then, no bueno.
There.
Councilman Brennan?
While he's looking that up, also, Paul, what are the legal requirements of just rejecting them and going out again? Just saying that's too much for our budget. Let's see if we can get another company to answer up.
Just what you said. With those kinds of amounts, you're still required to comply with the bidding requirements. But if you want to reject all bids and then go out to bid again, you can do that and see if you get more interest or more competition, as it were.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will say that there was two companies that kept hounding us to bid on it, and they didn't put in. One of them was Track. The guy would call me religiously, and then we were like, okay, put in for a bid. And he's like, I don't have, what did he say, like a license or something? Or, which they do all CenturyLinks and Zito. They do a lot of all the Idaho Power stuff. So we were hoping that they would do it because that's their world. And they didn't even.
Do we know, are there any factors that are limiting them putting it in, like a timeline that they just can't meet the timeline, so therefore they're not trying, or a license that they could acquire and they probably have to have it at the time of bid?
There's a Supreme Court challenge on that one.
Can you specify that? Like, can somebody put in a bid and say, if awarded, I will have it I'll have the license by this date?
That was what the lawsuit was about.
You can't do that.
Can't do that.
Have to have it. Okay.
And maybe that was the reason why they didn't put one in.
Sure.
Mayor, I make a motion that we accept the rejection of the fiber optic project bids.
Accept the reject.
Accept the reject.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the.
I still like to hear the answer.
Okay.
I'll try to find it still.
If there's anything.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Stokes.
Speaking of timeline, will this delay us to getting fiber to the taxpayers?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, it will. And then winter's coming.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I'll tell you, it's kind of not funny, but funny. I had a lady in the county, I met her last night, and she's so frustrated with her internet connection. And then there's a wait for, what is it, Starlink?
Starting
Oh,
is
yeah.
in line. You gotta get in the queue.
Gotta get in the queue.
And you have to be in an area with no frazzle zone.
Yep. Is that French?
Yeah, I don't think I said it right.
Lina Frenzel?
Frizzles, yeah. Gotta be in the right zone. No trees.
No trees.
Anything there, Rich?
I don't see it. Usually there's a spot that has, when you accept the bid, they sign all that, but I don't see the time-wise. I know like a lot of them that we've had with the other construction ones, it's usually like, it's like 45 to 60 days, so.
Where?
Councilman Brennan.
Paul, a similar question to what I've just asked, I think, is if we reject this and we go for this in-house work to be done, and that professional comes and says to us the price is going to be similar at $1.9 million, we ultimately can still make a council decision to go back for bid since they're so comparable at that time.
Yep.
That's fine.
Okay. It's been motioned and seconded. I'll call for the question, or any further discussion, sorry. Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Stokes?
Aye.
Councilman McCain?
Aye.
Councilman Brennan?
Aye.
Councilwoman Garvey?
Aye.
Run down to no, we're not. I pulled that one, sorry. Run down to action, item number 3, deliberation decision to enter into development agreement with LEAP Housing to pay prior impact fees of $1,050.18 per dwelling unit rather than the existing impact fees of $3,977 per dwelling unit at the request of LEAP Housing.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Stokes.
May I ask if we have a representative here from LEAP who might enter into a discussion with us?
You can ask all day long.
All right. Is there
Yes,
someone
come on
from
down,
LEAP?
guys.
How are you?
Art, how you doing, buddy?
Good.
I'm Bart Cochran. I'm the CEO of LEAP Housing.
Cool.
Sure, Councilman Stokes.
All right, Bart. Basically, I've been against these impact fees for a while now, given the current climate, the inflation, the cost, the labor shortage, for all sorts of reasons. So I'm of the opinion that I'm probably going to approve your request. I believe there's also a state code that says you can appeal to the council. So does that impact fee of $3,977 per unit hinder your development?
In this case it does create some challenges. The project is the first phase that we're working on is 60 units of housing. So I think the original impact fees under the roughly $1,000 is about $63,000. I think sum total, and then after it's a little sort of mid 200s. So the project specifically that we're working on is a federally funded affordable and workforce housing project. So the particular challenge for a project like that is that we have limitations on the kinds of rents that we can charge. Mm-hmm. So the idea is to be able to deliver affordable housing at the end of the day from a price point that's affordable for folks working in the community. And so anything that adds to the cost adds to those the challenges of being able to get it across the finish line.
Okay.
Mayor?
Councilwoman Garvey?
So, I think we need to circle back and maybe all be reminded that if we subsidize or decrease impact fees, we have to come up with the other portion. So this $175,000 discrepancy or a decrease, the city has to come up with that. So in what part of the budget are we going to do that at? Because once we increased our impact fees, correct me if I'm wrong, Tiffany, Paula, we have to come up with that other half. That's what Ann Westcott told us.
That's correct.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So where are we going to find $175,000 for the LEAP project in this budget? Mm-hmm. And then once we open that box, I understand your project, I understand your product that you're trying to put out, but once we open that box, we are going to have every other builder and every other development that we've just approved over the last year come in and say we want that going to happen. So where are we going to come up with that money?
Councilwoman Garvey and Mayor. So we did waive some impact fees when Wayne Shepherd was here for the UPS expansion. Mm-hmm. But we had to transfer money out of the street budget into the street impact fee to adjust for that waiver.
Yeah.
So that's the history on. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure do.
And so then our streets will suffer, our parks may suffer, our police may suffer, our fire may suffer, because our general funds may suffer. Because we're, no offense to you, appeasing a builder, and also no offense in your market, it's not the City of Mountain Home's problem that we have a crisis right now. It's not. So, those are my thoughts.
All right, council. Any other discussions?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Brennan?
Sorry. So you've probably seen the voting record. I think you've probably been watching this pretty closely, and I'm right there beside Councilman Stokes that I don't think now was the right time for impact fees. And I feel like as an individual council member, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. I either defend my voting record and vote to waive it, or I kind of, as I call it, salute smartly and carry on and say that was the decision of this body to do the impact fees. And I agree with Councilwoman Garvey that if we waive them for you, then the next guy in line is going to see that, and then they're going to ask. And now we've got to make this decision as to who's more important and who gets to waive it and pull money out of the general fund and who doesn't. So it's a tough place for me to be in because I don't agree with them. I don't like them, but that's the way the council went. And I guess I'd say this body. I may not say the council because it was a tie. But I'm going to stew on that for a minute because I don't like that position.
We're applying, and correct me if I'm wrong, we're applying for the CDBG grant for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you will get that award, that won't offset this portion where you'll still be able to build the low impact, the workforce housing, low income housing.
Yeah, the CDBG grant will provide funding to do the public infrastructure components of it. Yeah. So two different components of the overall budget, but yeah, that will help provide support that way as well.
Okay. So it's not a do or die. You're not going to be able to not build your buildings if you don't get your if you have to pay the impact fees, the current impact fees.
Well, it depends on how you look at it. I'd be happy to give just a little bit of background on the project itself, and hopefully kind of help spell that out. The project, we came to the city of Mountain Home in 2020 under when Courtney Lewis was here at the request of the city to try to see if we could put together some workforce housing for the community. So we looked at many sites, lots of challenges with floodplains and basalt rock and so on and so forth. So we found a site, and we own the site now. And then we entered, we saw everything from, COVID to surging construction costs. And so this project has been capital stacked a couple of times. It was expected to go start construction in the fall, was our intent. It's, if you remember in the PUD, it's a total of 136 units built in 4 phases. So what we're working on right now is just the first phase of 60 units. And so the request before you is only holding the original impact fees for just that one phase. That's all we're requesting. We think we totally support the need for development to pay its way. We want to pay those impact fees. It's just that we built the pro formas and the capital stack that balances now under the sort of the earlier impact fees. So all the remaining phases, all the other 3 phases, we anticipate paying whatever the impact fees are at the time. This is just meant to just help get this first phase off the ground. If we don't get the impact fees waived, then the project has a roughly $200,000 deficit. It doesn't balance, and so it does put the funding that's available to us, approximately $17.1 million, about 10 of which is federal funding. It does put it at jeopardy.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Stokes.
All right. I'm going to reference item G. I know we already approved it tonight. But item G talks about the Mountain Home Development Fee Advisory Committee and their thought process on this whole thing. And I've highlighted a couple things. Number 1, the current economic climate is not favorable towards a rise in impact fees. I agree with that statement wholeheartedly. Let's see what else was in there that was really interesting. The proposed build-out of Autumn Drive was not based on assumptions that are no longer accurate. That's for another development, though. G and H were really interesting, though. G says the city should be cautious of raising fees before any substantial development occurs. citing that Mountain Home has projects that have been approved, but none have been built. So there's no proof of concept here, even though we probably know it's going to work. And then H. H is the real kicker. And it says property taxes are what fund the local government. And that is true. The proposed impact fee jeopardizes long-term revenue provided by property taxes in lieu of a one-time fee. And how I would put this is, if we're looking at something, the appetizer is not the real bones of government. It's the meals, right? And that's why I guess I'm against the impact fees and would probably be in favor of waiving them for your development.
Councilman McCain?
But we still would have 170 odd thousand to come up with. To where, so in that instance, I'm gonna make a motion that we do not go into a development agreement with Leap Housing for $1,050.18 and stay with the $39.77 per dwelling.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Stokes.
But I just don't want your development to fail, so I hope, regardless of what happens, that you see success here and that we have some income-based housing for the workforce. Okay.
Any further discussion? Here, Councilman Brown.
Just to clarify, Mike, your motion was to keep the brand new impact fees.
Right.
Mayor,
Councilwoman Garvey.
I just want to address Bart. You know, I'm a numbers person, and I see this. If it wouldn't have impacted the city $175,000, I understand what you're going through. It's hard. Everybody's kind of in the same boat right now, whether you're trying to make a development, whether we're our day-to-day business. So I'm sorry that it went this way, but it's $175,000 that we'd have to come up with out of our budget for our roads, our parks, and we need it. We need all of our money as well, so I'm sorry.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilwoman Garvey.
Aye.
Councilman Brennan.
I'm not ready to vote. I don't know. Like I said, rock and a hard place. I don't agree with them, but that's the direction we went. I'll say aye.
Councilman McCain.
Aye.
Councilman Stokes.
Nay.
All right. Thanks, Bart. Let's run down to ordinance. Ordinance 1765 zoning R4 PUD Colthorpe Commons.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Stokes.
I make a motion that we suspend the 3 reading rule and read this ordinance by title only for its one and only reading tonight, and that is ordinance number 1765, zoning R4 PUD Colthorpe Commons.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman McCain.
Aye.
Councilman Brennan.
Aye.
Councilman Stokes.
Aye.
Councilwoman Garvey.
Aye.
Tiff, please read the ordinance 1765.
An ordinance of the City of Mountain Home, Idaho, declaring the real property hereinafter described to be the Colthorpe Commons rezoned to R4 PUD residential zone, subject to limitations of allowed use, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
Council, you've heard this ordinance read. Do you wish it to pass? Councilwoman Garvey.
Aye.
Councilman Brennan.
Aye.
Councilman McCain.
Aye.
Councilman Stokes.
Aye.
All right, run down to action item number 2, ordinance 1766, annexation of the Mountain Bound Custom Storage and RV Park.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Stokes.
I make a motion that we suspend the 3 reading rule and read this ordinance by title only for its one and only reading tonight. Ordinance number 1766, annexation of Mountain Bound Custom Storage and RV Park.
A second.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Stokes.
Aye.
Councilman McCain.
Aye.
Councilman Brennan.
Aye.
Councilwoman Garvey.
Aye.
Tiff, please read ordinance 1766.
An ordinance annexing to the City of Mountain Home, Idaho, the real property hereinafter described and declaring the same by proper legal description thereof and to be a part of said City of Mountain Home and providing an effective date.
Council members, you've heard this ordinance read. Do you wish it to pass? Councilman McGarvey?
Aye.
Councilman McCain?
Aye.
Councilman Stokes?
Aye.
Councilman Brennan?
Nay.
I'll run down to action item number 3, ordinance 1767, zoning I-1 PUD Mountain Bound Custom Storage and RV Park.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Stokes?
I make a motion that we suspend the 3 reading rule and read this ordinance by title only for its one and only reading tonight. Ordinance 1767, zoning I-1 PUD Mountain Bound Custom Storage and RV Park.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Brennan?
I know I'm wasting my breath here, but I'm going to say it anyways. I'll remind people of all the potential growth that's coming up there and the impact that that'll have on that intersection and the traffic jam it'll cause. Not even including a potential casino. We don't know that it's coming for sure, but if it does come, it's going to be big and it's going to bring a lot of people to that intersection. And something to think about real quick.
Thanks, Councilman Brennan. It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Garvey?
Aye.
Councilman Brennan?
Nay.
Councilman McCain?
Aye.
Councilman Stokes?
Aye.
Tiff, please read ordinance 1767.
An ordinance of the City of Mountain Home, Idaho, declaring the real property hereinafter described to be the Mountain Bound and Custom Storage and RV Park PUD property in I-1 Light Industrial Zone, subject to limitations of allowed use, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
Council members, you've heard this ordinance read. Do you wish it to pass? Councilman McGarvey?
Aye.
Councilman Stokes? Aye. Councilman Kane?
Aye.
Councilman Brennan?
Nay.
All right, run down to recognize a person in the audience. Would anybody like to get up and speak for 3 minutes? Hearing none, we'll run down to final comments. Council, do you have anything? Hearing none, we'll run into executive session. Council
Mr. Mayor,
Stokes?
I make a motion to enter executive session pursuant Idaho Code Section 74206, Section 1A, B, C, D, and F.
Second.
It's been motioned and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman McCain?
Aye.
Councilman Brennan?
Aye.
Councilman Stokes?
Aye.
Councilwoman Garvey?
Aye.
All right, we're on into executive session.